Okay, cool. This morning on the huddle, we are back, and we're back to talk about how to help you level up your live stream in what's left of 2021 and 2022. So do me a favor, grab yourself a cup of coffee or some tea or latte and huddle up because it's time for the huddle. Praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to the huddle. I'm your host, Walter Strong. If you're new here and you want to find your passion and purpose on YouTube, then we want to welcome you to the show. This morning, we are truly honored to be back on YouTube, live streaming the huddle, to be a part of the huddle community and to be a part of the platform of YouTube because we got a great guest for you. A dynamic guest for you. And so let's just go ahead and break this huddle and read a little about his bio and just let him turn himself loose to encourage you how to level up your live stream. Today's guest, which I can go ahead and put his bio back up in the place where I had it, is, here we go. Today's guest is a video coach, content creator, founder of Kevin Colby Media. Kevin helps people get into and do more with video so that they can share their gifts and make an impact in the world. Kevin has over 30 years of experience in video production, creative strategy, and marketing. He's been a part of radio. He's been a part of TV, Fox, NBC, CBS, ABC, CW, for those of you who like The Flash. Recognized part of Fox Affiliates award-winning creative team. Kevin not only is great in radio, television, but he is a great husband, a devoted father of 3 kids, including one great jewel child of a special needs. He is a coffee drinker. He is the Dark Knight Batman of video. Yes. There's so much we could talk about here, but I want to introduce to you the one, the only, the Phil Jackson of live stream, Mr. Kevin Colby. Good morning, sir.
Oh man, I want to meet the guy you just introduced. Goodness, I need to like watch him. So no, that was very kind. I know, you know, the funny thing is, Walter, when people say send you your bio, and I'm like, that's the part I always hate, is like writing about, you know, yourself, and it's like, well, you know, okay, but you were very kind in reading that back. So I like I was telling you right before we went on, I'm so honored that you asked. I'm excited about being here. So thank you for having me on.
Oh man, it is truly an honor and privilege to be graced with your presence. Tell our huddle community a little about yourself and how you got in your journey. I know we read the bio, but in your own words, how you started in content creation and YouTube.
Well, you know, growing up, I'm really old, so I hope your community doesn't tune out going, oh, this dude could just go on forever with the story. It's really not that exciting. But growing up, I always wanted to be in radio. I was always just fascinated with radio. I'd play DJ in my bedroom with my little turntable, which some people may have to like Google and go, what does that mean? And then I got into radio years later as I started college and loved it. And then a few years later had a chance to get into television and thought, ooh, this is like radio with pictures. This is kind of cool.
Right.
And you know, God has given me, I believe everybody has gifts. I think mine tend to skew more creative. In terms of how I create and things like that. So I had a long run in television, and my last gig, I was the creative director of a Fox station. And so, you know, I have been creating content and around video production and video marketing and content creation for, it may be going on 40 years now. I need to update my bio, I guess. And so when what ended up happening is I got downsized because it happens, and I ended up just starting. I'd started my own business on paper, and then just thought, well, I'd actually God said, "Here's what you're going to be doing," because I kept thinking, "I'll get back into broadcasting." And he was like, "No, no, you're not." And so I started my own business because I had people asking me to help them with their videos, and so I've just been blessed and honored to work with local businesses and a couple of national companies and a lot of nonprofits. I have a heart for nonprofits. And then I create my own content. So it actually started, ironically, Walter, I didn't really get serious about even my YouTube channel until probably early last year when I saw the potential. I was just uploading everything. I didn't care. And then I thought, wait a minute. YouTube is, I always knew YouTube was a thing, but all of a sudden when you start using it for your business and your content and to help people, it changes. And so that's kind of my journey. I did get back into radio a couple of years ago for just a little bit, just to kind of see if I could do it. I got to work for a local station, and that was fun. But I just decided, let me kind of go back to this. So that's what I do. I create content for clients. I help clients create content. I create it for me, create it for others. It's a blast. It's fun.
Yes, definitely. Hey, this morning we want to say good morning to those of you who are watching us on YouTube. Let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. Those of you who will watch the replay, we say good morning to you. So we want to acknowledge you. And as you always do, put a hashtag replay in the comments section. And already jumping up front is the one, the only, the legend, James Hicks from HNM Live Media. We want to say good morning to you. And hey, look, we got a full play here. So let's get into these tips here. Tip number one, and I apologize, StreamYard, for not putting it in and using the banners here. But when I had 10 tips here, I said, you know what? I gotta go on my own script, but we'll get it next time. Tip number one, scheduling your live stream in advance. Kevin, why is this so important for new live streamers, and how you've seen it so valuable for you and you doing your own show?
Well, I mean, the thing about scheduling is it kind of puts it on your calendar and it makes it real. I know for a fact, and I've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time. That even that minute before you hit go live, there's just that little and there's always that sense of okay, I hope I remember everything. I hope I do it right. And if you're just doing it on the fly, which is okay, and I've done those, sometimes you can be a little unprepared, which I know is another point we're going to get to. But
sure,
I think by scheduling it, first of all, it makes it real for you, for your brain. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to commit to do this live stream on this day at this time. And it also helps promote your show.
Yes.
We think, in fact, I know, Sean Cannell, Think Media, and I just saw him post something yesterday on Instagram that I reshared about don't be afraid to repeat things. And he said, we think everybody sees everything we do, and so therefore we can't ever repeat it. And the funny thing is he repeated the post within the post, but he changed it up a little. He said, see what I did there? And so we think everybody sees everything we do, including our live streams. And it's like, no, that's not the case at all. So it's very important to schedule, to get it out there, to talk about it ahead of time. And again, I think, especially if you're fairly new to live streaming or you've never live streamed before, ain't nothing going to make it more real than seeing it on your calendar. And it gets closer and closer and closer.
Closer and closer. And that is so true, because you're right. Even the way that the algorithms work for these various social media platforms, if you're trying to promote it on a different platform, say like Facebook, you're only going to be in the news feed for so long. or if you try to do it in Twitter because it's such an ongoing hosting type machine, then having that scheduling, it just becomes so key and important. And it'll do great wonders for you when you're first starting out. I truly agree with you.
And different platforms, will allow you to do different. I think YouTube, you can schedule, is it 30 days out, 28, 38 days out?
I believe so,
Facebook, unless they've changed it, I think it's only 7 to 10 days or something like that. So, you got to think about that too. Now, if you had like a major guest or something, substantial, I wouldn't say there's anything wrong with scheduling, as far out as possible, like you were doing a webinar or something like that. But, I personally have tried to at least schedule it, no more than a week, at least 3 days out. And there's nothing magical about that. It's just, that's when I'm like, okay, now I've got it all dialed in, and I get it out there.
Right. And it's just like you said, it's a good practice when you're starting as a new live streamer.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how just over this last year, this last 12 months, how live streaming is becoming more an important tool for content creation, promoting brand. I love Brian Culberson, the jazz piano. And he has, I stumbled across his own live stream show called Hanging Out with Brian. And I'm like, so let me get this right. You got jazz entertainers, you got people doing sports, you got YouTubers, you got entertainers like John Campia, everyone. And John Campia has been doing live streaming for forever.
Yeah.
Going back to the days of AMC. But it just, because it's become so competitive, you're right. Being able to schedule your live streams, it's going to help you stand out as a new YouTube content creator.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Tip number 2, and this kind of ties out with scheduling, planning out your live stream. And you're right. When you're first starting out, I agree with Sean. Sometimes when fear is in your face saying you really don't want to press go live, but you just got to punch fear in the face. In this case, not press record, go live. And do it. But after you do it for a while, share how you seeing the value out of planning your live stream shows and being a part of things like StreamYard and planning out shows for them.
Well, and the funny thing is, and I'm really glad you brought this up, because I've heard this a lot, and I've probably said it a couple of times, is that live streaming is so much easier than a produced video. Yeah, kind of, maybe a little. You can spend a lot of time on a produced video. I mean, sometimes I've done some videos, and I'm not talking about like story videos or something like that, even just a tutorial that, as you get into the edit, it's like, oh, you start adding stuff and over complicating it. But, if you want to kind of grow and bring value to your community and to others as a live streamer, there's nothing wrong with planning it out. Now, I don't script anything, which probably some people are like, yeah, you should, dude, because you really should. But I will bullet point.
Yes.
But I think by planning it out, you kind of know where you're going to start. It's like a story. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yes.
And now, I do believe in planning it out, but I do believe, and I don't know if this will be a bonus within there. I also believe, though, in leave yourself open for spontaneity and for something to happen. So, for example, if I can throw this bonus tip out there, whenever I interview people, I don't ever send them questions ahead of time. Now, I've interviewed some folks that I knew had a book coming out, and I'm like, do you want to talk about the book? Yes, okay, and so I get that. But whenever I've interviewed people here locally or whatever, I don't send them questions in advance. They know it's not going to be a 60 minutes, ambush interview, right? So I like to go with where the conversation goes. So even though I may have it planned out, if I'm talking to somebody and they bring something up, that may lead into a whole nother discussion point that becomes just like gold for the community and the video.
Yes.
But I do think planning it out, it allows you to think through, maybe graphics and the way you're going to structure your show, how you're going to stay into it as well. And it just doesn't hurt. Right. And then you can decide as you get more experience and more comfortable, how much planning you really need to do.
Definitely. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this discussion on 10 tips of how you can level up your live stream in 2021, going into 2022. Drop down in the comment or chat section, and give us a hashtag value. We want to say good morning to the one, the only Mr. Jeff Eatley, Detours with Jeff. Thank you for being a part of the show this morning. And definitely, like you said, being able to plan out, because we know it. You've known in business and in marketing. I've learned just in life and even in ministry. The Word of God tells us that, if we don't plan things out, then our probability for success now decreases. And so, like you said, being able to plan, especially when you're first starting, these are just great practices to do. Great practices. Tip number 3. Adding overlays to your live stream. Now, especially when you have a live stream software like StreamYard. Now, disclosure, this live stream is not sponsored by StreamYard, but we definitely like the tools and the tricks that they have for us. And so StreamYard, when you're first starting out, let's say if you get the free version, they have some overlays for you to be able to use. But if you bump up to the paid version, you can go to something simple as Canva and start putting overlays together. And so my question is, as a new live streamer, I'm starting out, let's say Jeff, Detours with Jeff, he's starting live streaming. How have you seen the value of putting overlays to improve your brand and message and show?
Well, first of all, they're great reminders of points. I mean, if let's say like you were doing 3 ways to cook a better burger.
Okay.
Now I want a burger.
Me too.
I'm sorry about that. But, reinforcing those tips, however, adds to that, like an overlay of my name or your logo in the corner. And it can be done so many different ways. Full screen graphics. One of my little, I hate Walter. I got to admit, I hate the word hacks.
Okay.
Because I may it for me, it almost sounds like, oh, this is a shortcut that'll guarantee success. I like tips. I've used hacks, but one of the tips that I use that I'll share is that I will do full screen graphics for a couple of reasons, which is an overlay.
Okay.
Just something that you're laying over the video, right? But I'll do it to reinforce a point. But sometimes I'm doing it to get off of me. So you pull attention to the graphic, but then it also allows me to look at the comments. It allows me to do something else in the background. So there is that, it's serving a couple of different purposes. But I would also say the overlays need to drive your story forward. They need to have a purpose. I mean, it could be promoting, a download you have. I've done them where they're on the side. I've done them underneath. And you're right. StreamYard is the easiest way to live stream. And they make it easy just to upload things. But almost any platform, almost any type of what I'll call third party, not going native, has the ability to add them. So it can just dress up your show. What my warning would be, though, is don't spend so much time on the graphic that then you forget to put some time into the content and the show.
Can I trouble you to say that again for us newbies? Because you're right. Sometimes we can get caught up with the bright lights and fashion.
Yeah, and I'm that way, and I've been doing this a long time. It's so easy to spend so much time on your packaging and your graphics and stuff like that all of a sudden your content kind of suffers because the package looked good, but inside the package there wasn't much there.
Right.
And if you're submitting your live stream for best looking live stream, that's one
for
thing.
The year. Hey.
Yeah. But if you're thinking about the content and the value it brings, and another tip too is you can create a lot, especially in StreamYard. You can create a lot of your overlays, your lower thirds, your full screens, and leave them and have them. So you're not having to redo them over and over and over again. And it's kind of like this bank you can pull from. But yeah, it can definitely add to it, but just make sure it doesn't subtract from it.
Right. So level up the live stream from a brand, but from a message standpoint, the content still has to stay king.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, if I'm watching the Avengers. I'm watching the Avengers because I love the story, I love the characters, and I love the look. But at the
Mhm.
same time, most of our live streams, people are dialing in to learn something or be entertained, and it's usually not about the quality, I don't think, of the graphics. I just
Ah,
don't.
gotcha. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this discussion, 10 tips, not hacks, but 10 tips on how to level up your live stream. Do me a favor, smash the like button, give us a thumbs up. Hey, share this live stream on your favorite social media channel. If you're part of a Facebook group that does YouTube live streams, share it in your group. Encourage someone to say, hey, look, we need to go to the next level because you've mastered hopefully you've mastered the fundamentals. You're not a shoot, you're not a dribble, you're not a pass. Now it's time to level up. All right. Tip number 4, having good, and you know what? I don't hear this a lot on a lot of live stream
Yeah.
shows, but because I guess sometimes people kind of take for granted that as newbies will know this, having good lighting to
Yeah.
light up your having good lighting to level up your live stream.
Yeah, and
Your
I know
thoughts
what the
on that?
next point is because I'm looking at the notes. I'm not going to get ahead, but
Mhm,
I would put lighting as the second important thing
mhm,
because I think the next point is going to be the most important thing. But you're
mhm,
right. I mean, people need to see you. It's also going to help your camera focus. Like if I turn my light off right now,
mhm.
I've got a window over here, but my camera's having to work a little harder and stuff like that. I think that's a little bit, well, it sounds very cocky. I think that's a little bit more flattering. I'll let your
Right.
viewers decide. They may say, no, Kevin, turn all your lights off. You're kind of scaring our kids. But yeah, and you don't have to overdo it. I have one light right here.
Mhm,
One light. That's it. But yeah, you want to level up. It doesn't have to cost a lot.
right.
Softer is better. You want to
Mhm,
try and get away from like overhead lights and things like that, fluorescence, things that might flicker.
right.
It doesn't take a lot if you're just starting out. Quite honestly, you could get, a very inexpensive light off Amazon or just get a soft LED bulb or something like that
Mhm.
just to get enough illumination. And especially if you're using a webcam.
Yes.
I mean, I just got the new MacBook. I haven't even cracked it open yet. I know it's got a new built-in camera that's a 1080p, which is better. And if people don't know what that is, don't worry about it. But
Mhm.
webcams are notorious light suckers. I mean, they just don't look great until you give them more light. But
Okay.
it doesn't take a big light. It doesn't take a lot of light, but you do want to be able to at least see what you're talking about or see who's talking.
Yes, definitely. Which will go right into the next tip, which is having good audio during your live stream.
Yep. I mean, the funny thing is, and the most important part of video, and this goes for produced or live stream, is
Mhm,
audio, because people will put up with some of the worst quality video on the planet,
mhm.
but if they can't hear you, they're just gonna tune out. And I'm not talking about best. I know there's a lot of, and I've made those videos too, that, the best mic for live streaming, the best, the reality of it is, and I think this is a stopper sometimes. People don't get started
Mhm.
in video because they're afraid they're going to buy the wrong thing. I didn't buy the right camera. I didn't buy the right mic and stuff like that. There is no best. There's no, I'm a Canon guy. Other people are Sony guys. Other people are Panasonic guys.
Mhm.
I also do a lot with my iPhone. So, I like my mic. You've got a great mic, but you can have an inexpensive USB mic.
Yes.
And as long as they can hear you and placement and things like that, audio is so important. And then it goes into other levels like, background noise. I mean, my office studio is a refurbished bedroom in our home. So there's sometimes where, the doorbell rings, the dog barks, things happen, right?
Right, right.
But if you can isolate as much of the sound as possible, it's going to make for a better experience.
Mhm.
And there's other little tricks you can do too. But yeah, audio, you don't have to have a crazy expensive mic. You don't,
Right,
but you
right.
do need to have a mic that's closer, I think, as close to your mouth as possible. Now, yours and ours are in the shot which is a whole nother debate. People are like, well,
some say don't eat the mic. Some say
Yeah.
keep the mic back.
And it's like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And I have friends that are creators and they absolutely refuse. I tell you this. So this is actually, when I was redoing some of my desk once, I decided to go to kind of a boom mic that you couldn't see. And then I was going back and forth. I remember asking my wife about it and she was like, honey, we all know people are using mics. What are you worried about?
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's a good point. Yeah. It's not like, well, I don't want a mic in the shot. People have got it figured out at this point. They probably figure there's a mic there. But yeah, you want to invest in audio. It doesn't have to be invest a ton, but you do want to invest something in your audio.
Boom. He dropped the mic. Oh, I'm sorry. We need to keep the mic for the audio.
Yeah, don't drop the mic. Yeah.
Don't drop the mic.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're getting great value out of this discussion, 10 tips on how to level up your live stream on YouTube. Smash the like button, give us a thumbs up, and hashtag value in the chat section. Those of you who have just joining us on YouTube, hey, drop down in the chat section. Let us know where you're watching us from. We will definitely acknowledge and shout you out if you so want to be known. All right. Tip number, we did lighting, we did audio. Here's my favorite tip. And Kevin, I want your thoughts on this because people may say it doesn't take all this great energy to do a live stream. I think being able to level up your live stream is important. So having great energy to me is important. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I'm going to rephrase it maybe a little differently. I do think that you should be you. Yes. I think, too many people, and there's a lot of great live streamers out there. A lot. We could probably fill a whole show just, mentioning other folks.
Right.
But, they're them, you're you.
Yes.
What did Oscar Wilde say? Be you, everybody else is already taken.
This is true. I like that.
I do think that if you're not a high energy guy, because here's how I interpret that is that if you're not excited about what you're doing, nobody else is going to be. Cool. So when I was a creative director and I would have a producer come in with an idea, for like a, promotion or something we were going to do. If they came in and goes, Kevin, I got this idea, but I don't think it's very good. Well, I'm not going to be that excited about it. In fact, I would tell them, if you're not excited about it, don't bring it to me. I want you to be excited about it. Now, you don't have to be like, oh man, I'm so glad you guys are here today. Give me a high five. So if that's not you I tend to kind of wired this way. I remember somebody asking my wife one day, bless her heart, is he like this all the time? And she said, yeah, pretty much. So I think it's being you, but I do think that bringing some energy in terms of excitement, in terms of what you're into, because if you're bored with it, if you're not having fun, if you're just going through the motions, which I think is all part of energy, people pick up on that and they are going to tune you out unless it's a training video they got to sit through.
Yes, definitely.
But it's anytime somebody watches anything I do, I feel honored that they would watch as much of it as they do. So the last thing I want to do is them feel like, well, dang, that was a waste of time.
Right.
Now they may not like the content, they may not like me, and that's not what we're talking about. But just have some passion about what you're talking about. If you're a cooking channel and all of a sudden the hot trend are video games, don't do video games. Do cooking.
Right.
That's what your passion is, what your gifts are, it's what you're good at. That's what you're excited about. Right. So that's how I interpret it.
No, that's a great point, because passion most of the time can't be seen because it's inward. But the manifestation of that passion comes out through your energy of how you put yourself before your audience going live. One of the things I kind of picked up in watching most of your live streams or videos is I'm a person who's very serious, who looks at you and is like, okay, this guy never smiles. But you have a lighter, softer side. There's a seriousness about you, but what you first get is a person who is very lighthearted and who likes to laugh and smile and have fun. But when it's time for business, you get business. And so that energy of humor comes out of your shows that makes hey, look, I like that.
Yeah.
So those are some great points there. Great points. Hey, okay. So what we got there? So we got passion. Next tip. And I've always tried, and I'm still new at this, Kevin. I am with the live stream show, but engaging your audience, staying on run of show, but every time someone pops up wanting to acknowledge, why is that so important in your opinion for new live streamers, especially using a tool like StreamYard? That let me get their taglines right: ease of use, stability, and professional live stream. There you go, StreamYard.
Tell them to send you the check too. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think when you commit to live streaming, and this is the difference between a live stream and a produced video. I mean, you can produce a video and you can throw it up there and it just tanks. It just does. Right. I mean, I've had videos that I thought, "Ooh, man, this is I'm excited about. It's going to do great," and it just doesn't. And then I've had other videos that do really well, and it's like, well, I never saw that coming. And a live stream, you're putting yourself out there, you know, forever how long you live stream. And I mean, how long is in how long that specific broadcast is. So I think you always, if you're going to hit go live, you go live to at least one person, even if that one person never comments. Because again, it's kind of goes back to the energy thing. Is like, because if you're not even showing up live, why would anybody bother, right?
Correct.
Because your community can be live. They can be on the replay, as you keep saying. In fact, the majority of live streams are seen in the replay, not necessarily the live. I mean, most of my live streams, you know, do just okay, but then a lot of them will grow over time, depending on the topic, depending on what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So you always want to talk to them. I mean, I think, I think people love to be acknowledged. They love to be seen. They love to hear their name. They love to be looked at. Now, how you do it is up to you. Some people add the comments on the screen. Some don't. Some acknowledge them later. But, I think and especially when people are asking questions, now people can get off topic.
Yes.
And that's something you learn over time, is how to kind of redirect that or ignore that. And, I did a show on StreamYard for quite a while, and it was tough sometimes because the comments were just coming in faster than I could look at them. And so you would miss things, but you would always try and go back and acknowledge people and bring things up, and great question. And honestly, one of the things that we did when we would do the StreamYard show is we would just say, like, let me know where you're from. Or, there's other things you can do as you grow. And I think when you're starting out, you've got to realize you're starting out.
Yes.
I mean, if you're going to immediately think, oh, look, I'm going to do this live stream and I'm going to have 1,000 people watching and there's just going to be comments and stuff like that. Maybe. But the reality of it is you may not have hardly anybody, but you should keep on. But, people like to be acknowledged. They like to be thought that they were seen and heard. And this goes to the replay. This is a mistake I see a lot of people make.
So we'll go right into that tip. We'll go right into that tip right now.
Oh, you know what? Sorry about that. I jumped the script.
No, it's all right. But see, I'm glad how it's flowing.
But, and this goes into the next tip, is that, my channel isn't so big that I can't respond to every comment. I still to this day will respond to every comment. Now, sometimes the comments, I've had a couple of like, I got no idea what you're talking about, so I'll just go, thanks. But the mistake I see a lot of people make is they never go back to the replay of the live stream and address comments. So just imagine this show is going to live on your channel forever, right? And a month from now, somebody goes and comments. And I know that's tough. I mean, a month may be tough, but there's no reason not to engage in the comments at some point. Look, I'm just going to say this.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan of Gary V. I like Gary V on some levels. I don't like his mouth, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But I know
got what you're saying.
I heard him say one time at a conference, and he kind of got on to the audience, but I thought he was right, is that, you know, if you're going to put yourself out there and people comment, you owe it to them to respond.
Yes.
And I thought, you know, you're right. You're right. And I'm not talking about the haters and the spammers, you know, or will you shout me out and sub? I'm just talking about somebody that's taken the time to leave a comment, live or not. That's how you engage with your community. And I got to tell you, I've had great discussions within my community that has led to sharing other videos, that has led to friendships, that has led to collaborations, that has led to me sharing affiliate links, that has led to me turning somebody's opinion around from like, man, I really don't like what you're talking about, to like, okay, now I see your point.
Okay.
And you know, they ain't any other thing, any other platform that can give you that. So yeah, engaging with your community is ginormous. How you do it is up to you.
Gotcha. And see, you, as you were saying these things about how you respond on the replay, and one of the things we always say is give us a hashtag replay, because we know that's how acknowledging that replay viewer. But you brought up another bonus tip that I want to put before you, and that is, especially as a new live stream person doing a show, how do I handle a troll or a hater who leaves a comment? Because I watched your video on that and I thought that was excellent that you did on StreamYard. How would I handle that as a new as a person starting out a show?
And that's a great point. I mean, you know, the most extreme it's ever happened to me, I used to host a show. I'll give you a real example. I used to host a show called Two Guys Talking About with a good friend of mine named Bill Jordan. And we would do live on YouTube and Facebook, and then we just kind of took it to Facebook for a while. And there was one show where there was like 3 to 4 guys that, for whatever reason that day, they just started hammering us. Now, you know, it never made the broadcast, if that makes sense, because I never added the comments when I saw what was going on. Because like you just did this right now, you went to a full shot of me, so I went to a full shot of Bill when I realized what was going on. And there's a function in StreamYard that allowed me to block them quickly, and it was pretty profane, so that's why I decided to block them. You know, you're going to get people that get off topic. You're going to get people that just, you know, they're there just to disrupt, or you know, some people just, they're just always in a bad mood. I don't know why. And you know, the best tip, I think, is ignore them. Now, I think there's lines that they cross. You have to have your own. I mean, with mine, you know, if it gets into, you know, any type of racial thing or hate thing or extreme profanity or things like that, I don't tolerate that at all. But I think you just, you know, you can ignore it. You can ignore it, or you can, like, I've got a friend that has a channel, and oh my word, he gets a ton of just nasty comments, and he'll always reply back with, well, thank you very much for watching. And, you know, it's kind of that kill 'em with kindness.
Right.
So you've got different options and things like that. And honestly, if now you can't do this in live chat, but you can do this in the comments. If it's just like, whoa, that crosses a line, block it.
Yes.
Just block them, block the person, delete the comment. It's your channel. It's your brand. It's your message. You don't have to leave that on there. And YouTube even has filters you can add on top of that too. Like one I would always recommend, especially if you're using YouTube, is that you block links. So there's no way, like on my channel, anyone can leave a link to anything, because it could lead to good or bad. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's going to happen. Hopefully not much. But I think you can ignore it, but be careful about trying to engage with them into a battle. Well, I'll show them, because usually they're bullies hiding behind keyboards. And that's, you know, acknowledging them with kindness sometimes can kill it right there.
This is true. And I think one occurrence that I had, just real briefly, I had someone, and it wasn't a live stream, but it was just a regular a video, and the person said to me, "I'm writing you to let you know I'm unsubscribing." And I thought that was odd. Like you're announcing you're unsubscribing. I said, okay, okay. And so he says, I'm announcing I'm unsubscribing from your channel because your content has changed. You're not doing what I thought you were going. I said, oh, okay. So I just kindly responded back and I said, thank you for you leaving a comment, letting me know you're unsubscribing. I'm sorry to see you go, but I would ask this question. In the last 3 to 5 videos that I've done, what is it that has really stood up that you have enjoyed and that you would like for me to put back in some future videos? And I said, P.S. By the way, the reason why I did this video this way is my father passed away. So I couldn't do my normal videos the way that I want. So I just thought you should know that. And so, but again, I appreciate your thoughts. Sorry to see you leave the Huddle community. Have a great day. A few minutes later, the subscribe number went back up. I was like, huh? How does that work? I said, okay. Now I realized, like you said, you can't do that with everyone.
Right.
But I end up making a video on 5 tips on how to understand why you're losing subscribers. So he gave me a video creation through our interaction.
There you go. Yeah.
And just doing that. But like you said, sometimes you have to have discernment when to do it.
Oh, yeah.
And those that are haters and leaving links, you just gotta block them.
Yeah.
And
so it just happens. It happens. I've been blessed that I haven't had a ton. Hopefully this won't open the floodgates, but I haven't had a ton. There's been some that have blocked because YouTube has those things you can put in. In fact, somebody called me something. I didn't know what it was. It was in a different language. And so I used Google Translate and was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to delete that comment right now.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, but and this may be off topic a little.
Sure. It's okay.
But you're talking about somebody unsubscribing. Here's the thing you got to realize too, is that, I mean, I think about my habits. I subscribe and unsubscribe to channels. I mean, I probably, there's been times where over time it's like, I can't, I wouldn't know if I would say them anyway, but there was somebody I realized once that they had changed their content so much. It wasn't the reason I subscribed for, so I unsubscribed. But you know what? It's their channel.
Correct.
They're okay with doing that. I mean, people do that. They innovate, they change. I've also unsubscribed before because I just felt like it was becoming the same content over and over and over and over. And I didn't need that. Now, I will also subscribe to channels, a few that are friends that I want to support. Want to help them get to a milestone or something like that. And it doesn't bother me in doing that. They didn't ask, and it's not a sub for sub.
Okay.
But you're gonna lose subscribers. You're gonna gain subscribers, and sometimes you never know why. It's just like at least that person commented, and then you turned it into something.
Yes.
Yes. So.
Hey.
Good for you. I've just learned from you.
Hey, like I said, we're still learning. Hey, if you're getting great value out of this discussion, I got enough fingers here. 10 tips on how to help you level up your live stream on YouTube. Hey, smash the like button, give us a thumbs up, and share on your social media, especially those of you who have watched us this long. We want to acknowledge you in the chat, so let us know where you're watching us from. We got 2 other tips for you. Tip number 9 is being able to give a tease out to your next live stream. And I learned this from a fellow StreamYard person you work with, Melanie.
Oh, yeah.
I stumbled across her live stream on StreamYard, and she gave a tease about being able to do live stream on the go. And I said, I got to come back. But her strategy worked. So share with our audience why that's so valuable and how you've seen and you doing and using it on your shows.
Well, when I was doing, it was called Ask StreamYard, and it was the show I did on StreamYard, and Melanie and I would rotate.
Okay.
And I remember when Christian was kind of, I guess, if you would say, the producer of the show. And we would meet and we would talk about making sure what the next show was so we could promote it. So it'd be like, hey, next week Mel's going to be here and she's going to be talking about, best audio tips. And then Mel would say, hey, Kevin's going to be here next week and he's going to be talking about, cheap graphics for your live stream or whatever. And it's, it's just here's the other thing too, Walter. It doesn't have to be at the end of the show.
Okay.
Hey, we're so glad to be talking to Walter here today. We're going to be talking about how he got into live streaming. And by the way, just a reminder, next week, we're going to be talking about how to level up your live streaming. Okay. I mean, just, it's a quick little tease that doesn't take with just a few seconds. It doesn't have to be like a 5-minute, okay, now next week we're going to do this. And now you got an interview with Elon Musk. It was recorded. You might want to play a little tip of it. There's so many different ways you could do it.
Sure.
But it's just another way to let people know what's coming up, that you're bringing more value. And the other thing is too, when this replays, you can always add that as an end card on the end screen too. So, so let's say at the end of this one, you're going to tease the next show.
Yes.
And then when that show hits, you can come back in and add that show as an end screen on this. And if I'm blowing people's minds by that, then I apologize. But that it's just like on a produced video, if you will, when you watch at the end and the videos come up and they'll say, hey, you ought to watch this video next, or, thanks for watching. And they just pop up. That's kind of a tease to another video.
Correct. Okay.
So, it can also help if you're doing a series. So let's say you decided to do this in a 10-part live stream series. Hey, next week, we're going to continue this ways to level up your live stream. We're going to be talking about audio. Make sure you join us for that, blah, 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 blah. So you're like, oh yeah. Okay. That's good. Yep.
Wow. If I had a graphic, it would be wow.
Got to work on that overlay.
There you go. Great value. Hey, we're leveling up, people. Are you leveling up? Give me in the chat section and give me a hashtag leveling up. Our last tip here: repurpose your live stream with shorter content.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be very honest. I have done a horrible job with this.
That's why I brought you on, because I need help too.
Yeah. Now here's the thing too, that and it's one of the things that, and StreamYard is not paying either one of us, but we both use StreamYard.
Okay.
And there's another one I use too, but we're using StreamYard. But StreamYard makes it very, very easy. So if you're watching this on Walter's channel and you've never live streamed or you've never used StreamYard before, the minute or second that this broadcast is over, Walter will have a copy of it in the cloud. And so he can download it at that point, and he can download it to edit pieces and parts of. So think about that. They actually give you the ability to repurpose right there. Now there's other ways to do it as well, but I've seen more and more people take pieces and parts to create another video. Now, so for example, Walter could do this. He could take this video right here, this live stream, and make 10 different pieces of content. And I know what somebody's going to say. Well, Kevin, that's just repeating everything. Again, go back and look at one of the other points. We assume everybody saw everything we said and they're just enamored with everything. No, you retitle it. He could do one on the audio. He could do one on the lighting. He could do one on dealing with trolls. He could do one on all the other things we've talked about, scheduling, right? And those, and when I say shorter videos, not shorts, but shorter videos, but you could also repurpose them as shorts, even though this might be a little harder to do in a vertical format. But yeah, I mean, you can repurpose it on a blog post. You can repurpose it into other, cut it out for Instagram or Facebook and things like that. I'm not a big fan of just resharing the entire live stream onto Facebook, or what I know some people do. And I used to do this too, is like they'd go live on Facebook and then just upload it to YouTube. It's different audiences. Right. But just think of this right here. Walter could take this and cut it up into 10 pieces. Or 5 or 6, right? But let's just say 10. So now he's got 10 more videos. They're shorter. They're to the point. He could do a blog post out of this. He could take the audio and do a podcast out of this. And then he could share pieces and parts on Facebook and on Instagram and on Twitter. and LinkedIn. I mean, so look at all the different ways you can make one piece do multiple work. Absolutely. And the bonus of a live stream is you're actually getting a twofer. So when you produce a video and upload it, it's one video.
Correct.
Well, a live stream is technically two. It's live once and it's a replay. That's two videos. Two videos.
2 for 1.
2 for 1.
There you go. There you go. Hey, if you've been getting great value out of this discussion, 10 tips on how to level up your live stream on YouTube for 2021 and 2022. Give us a hashtag level up in the chat section. And again, to those of you who are watching the replay, give us a hashtag level up replay. Man, every live stream show, we always ask this question. I know this has been good. This has been rich. But one of the questions that we have to ask you, Kevin, is what are 3 things you wish you knew before starting YouTube?
I wish I knew that, and I want to be careful about this, that, you know, how real YouTube can be to grow your business or your brand or your nonprofit or whatever. And, you know, yeah, you can Google and see how big it is, but once you start experiencing that, and the reason I say I wanted to be careful, I don't say that like you just throw up a video and you're just going to blow up. In fact, I think if your strategy is just to be the biggest YouTuber on the planet, yeah, okay, that's fine. But there's so much more to it than that. So I wish I had realized. I knew the potential of YouTube, but I didn't take it down to that personal level. So that's one. 2, that I wish and I still struggle with this. I wish I realized that I don't have to overproduce and overcomplicate everything. That sometimes my good friend and mentor, Sean Cannell, says sometimes, you know, done is better than perfect. And I think I wish I had known sooner that it's just, you know, it is the best platform out there. And it's an easy mistake, especially for people just starting out. It's like, I got to be on everything. I got to have a Pinterest and a TikTok and a this and a this and a this and a this. I don't like TikTok. I go back and forth on Instagram. You know, I tweet because it's just easy. I love Facebook, but I'll be honest, I've had very little success as a page on there, but I do far more just on my profile and in groups. So I think it's also realizing that if you treat YouTube as your core, as your hub, you have a better chance of reaching more people than any other platform, because your stuff is evergreen and it will live and live and live. You know, Walter and I were talking right before the live stream, you know, the analytics are great and they can be a curse too, you know, but if I go and look at my top 10 videos for the last 28 days, 90 days, last year, lifetime, there's 1 or 2 videos that remain in that top 10 that I did in 2018 that are still getting views and occasionally will still get comments. Because YouTube is serving up videos that they think people want to watch, irregardless of when they were produced. And if I had thought more about that, I might have gotten a little bit more serious, dialed in my content a little bit more, and then just realized that rather than try and be in all these other platforms, let me let YouTube work for a while. So those are my tips that I'm still learning from.
We're going to let that breathe. Let that marinate for a minute. A video piece of content that you make today can still be getting active views 2 to 3 years from now, because of the value that you pumped into it. Not your personality, but the value.
A quick true story. So I did a video, I think it was in 2018 on, I forgot what it was, sunglass reviews or something that doesn't even fit what I do now. Right. But I love sunglasses. And like a few months ago, now keep in mind, this video was done in 2018, right? We're in 2021 when this is done live. Somebody commented on it And immediately another guy jumps in and gets onto the person for giving me grief.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Now there's two guys debating each other on a video that I did 3 years ago. And I'm like, wow. Oh, and then he says, oh, and by the way, because of your video, Kevin, I bought a pair of those sunglasses. Okay. And yeah, it was an affiliate link, even though I don't know if the affiliate link worked anymore. But, the point is that, there is this thing about videos living, unless you take them down. You just never know what somebody's looking for, when they're looking for it, when YouTube serves it up, and they may never subscribe, they may never watch another one of your videos, but all of a sudden that video touched them, struck them for some reason. And you will not get that on any other platform. Period. I mean, try and find anything on LinkedIn.
This is true.
TikTok doesn't do that. Twitter is like what, a 20-minute shelf life. Instagram still trying to figure out their algorithm. I mean, I know they have one, and Facebook, as much as I love it, go try and find something on there.
Yeah, this is true. This is
YouTube,
true.
if like later today you have to, change your garbage disposal, just start Googling or just start searching, how to change your garbage disposal, and they're going to serve you the videos irregardless of when they were made. And you may have one that's 6 years old, but if it still helps you change that garbage disposal, it may be an ugly black and white 4x3, but if it helps, it helps.
If it helps, it helps.
Shot on a flip phone.
There you go. There you go. Kevin, where can our Huddle community and our viewers on YouTube get more information? We have everything in the description, but if you would be so kind to let them know.
Yeah, I mean, probably the two places, if they want to check out my YouTube channel, it's Kevin Colby, just like that right there. And I try and post every week. I'm also not trying to beat myself up if I miss a week too, because sometimes family takes priority as it should. But they're on my website, kevincolby.com. That's where I have things about coaching and projects I've worked on and just other stuff. Those are probably the two best places to connect with me, YouTube and then my website.
Oh, great. Hey, look, we are truly humbled and honored for having the Phil Jackson of live stream on today. Hey, it's been truly an honor. And question of the day for you, especially for those of you who will watch the replay, which of these 10 tips and the bonus tips that you've heard today are you going to be using in your live streams to help you level up? Drop down in the comment section and give us your feedback. And we promise we will definitely engage you to encourage you to how to level up your live stream. And so again, I want to thank Kevin for coming on. And for those of you who are watching, let us know in the chat. We will shout you out. If not, we'll shout you out on the replay of the comment section. And so we're just glad to be back on the Huddle. I know we had to take a break, and I just wanted to say a personal thank you for every person for your thoughts and prayers as we went to Detroit to celebrate my father's homegoing service. So I want to thank you for your patience and just being understanding why the Huddle was not on. And again, if you haven't had an opportunity to subscribe to this channel, the goal is to help you find your passion and purpose on YouTube. That's our mission. That's our passion and purpose. So we hope you will subscribe. And so we're going to get on out of here. And as we close, we always close and say, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that will prevail. So make a quality decision today and allow God's purpose to prevail in your life today. Me and Kevin will talk after we go off live. You have a great Saturday morning and weekend. We'll see you next week.